what you do. So today I'm chatting with Linda Ho. She's the founder of Abundant Mindset Limited, and Linda is zooming in from New Zealand. So welcome, Linda. It's so great to have you here with me tonight.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
So tell us what part of New Zealand you're in.
I'm at the moment in Nelson, but I've been a little bit between Nelson and Golden Bay. Golden Bay is a very alternative kind of hippie area. Beautiful, beautiful nature. We've got this amazing spring. I think it's one of the cleanest springs in the world. Like it's, you know, you can see all the way to the ground, and yeah, just stunning nature, really. Yeah, very fortunate here. We've got the ocean and the mountains, so you can see in the back the snow on the mountains and the ocean in between. So it's a very, very unique and beautiful place.
It is stunning. I do know that part of the world. I am from New Zealand myself, not from the South Island, but I've spent much time in the South Island. And so you're in an area where there's, you've got some wineries around you and stuff. So it's a very, very beautiful, beautiful spot. But I notice, even though my accent is a Kiwi accent, yours is not. So where are you from, Linda?
I'm actually originally from Germany. My family is Polish, but I was the first child born in Germany. And then I left for the first time when I was 20, and then I left again when I was 27. And then, yeah, never really returned back.
It's a funny thing how that happens, because I left New Zealand when I was 21 with the intention of probably, well, I had a 4-year visa for the UK to work. And I thought probably I wouldn't last 4 years and I'd be home. And 28 years later, I'm still away. So, you know, life just evolves, doesn't it? And, you know, yeah, time moves on. So I'd love to chat with you about your business and how you got into it. So first of all, would you be able to share with us what is Abundant Mindset and how do you work with people? How do you help them?
So I'm a spiritual mindset coach and breathwork practitioner, and studied heavily NLP and timeline therapy and hypnosis. And now I'm kind of using all those techniques, and my whole journey started quite spiritual. I spent some time in ashram where I did my yoga teacher training, and then spent some time with shamans in the bush where I had some ayahuasca journeys. And so I'm using all those tools now to really help people step back into their power and become the truest version of themselves, really shed the layers of self-worth issues, the layers of unworthiness, the layers of not feeling good enough, and really taking 100% radical responsibility, and then creating an abundant life from that place, becoming everything they always knew they are, but they were too scared to claim it.
So tell me, I'm fascinated because I'm meeting, well, particularly in the Positive Passionate Businesswoman Huddle, a number of members that are in this space. So is this a growing area, do you think? Or is it the fact that now, because there's so much more acceptance of people doing work online, that instead of being, doing it in your local town or whatever, that now it's just so much easier to connect with people out there in the world and offer what you do? What do you think is the reason, or what's going on?
I think there will always be demand for both. Personal, I think nothing beats in person. Like, I love live events. I love the possibility of hugging people and being in each other's energy. And I think we're quite fortunate to live in that day and age of technology where we can see each other and we can get a good feeling of each other's energy and all of that. But, we cannot touch each other. Like, I cannot just come and give you a hug and say, like, oh my God, that was awesome, right? Like, and for me personally, there's something missing. And I know that a lot of people feel the same, especially when I do breathwork journeys and stuff, I can tap them, I can guide them, I can just be so much closer. And you don't have that online. Of course, online, you can work with anyone, anywhere, and at any time, and it doesn't matter what's going on. Everyone these days, or most people, have a laptop with an internet connection. So there is, endless possibilities. And I think that will really just allow that both will be always needed. And the coaching industry or the self-development industry as far as I heard, is in its teenage age. So, or it's just moving into the teenage age. And especially in New Zealand, it's actually not that common yet. New Zealand, I always, the Kiwis might be a little bit, mad when I say that, but I feel sometimes New Zealand is a little bit between a third world and a first world country. Like it's not quite there yet, and when I'm working with my mentors in Australia and they say, cards, business cards are not a thing. That's a thing of the past. You know how many times people ask me if I have a business card here? It's still a thing here, and car commercial, having your commercial on the car is also a thing here. It works really well here, So it really depends on which country you are and what's going on there. I think it's so much more accepted already in Australia, in America. People already know, okay, I'm investing in myself. It's like paying for supplements. It's like paying for the doctor. I'm also paying for a coach who helps me to evolve myself and become a better version of myself and really take charge of my life and where I want to go. So yeah, it's an interesting journey for sure. And it's really beautiful to observe the growth and the development in that area and how many people actually do start becoming aware that, they don't have to live the way they are. They can change. They can have good relationships. They can be fulfilled in their jobs. I think less and less people they stop putting up with shit, They're just like, no, I actually don't want to experience this anymore and I'm ready to change. So that's great.
It's so interesting, isn't it, how it all evolves and how much more aware we all have become of our own relationships with others and with ourselves.
Yeah.
But I think just when you said about countries, I also think area that you live in, because I live in a tiny village and it's very much about the business cards. I use this amazing app called Hello, and you just scan it and off we go. And yet still 90% of people go, no, just give me a business card. And I'm like, I just don't, I'm like, it's terrible when I don't have any on me, So yeah, I definitely think it's about the area you're in, but also my area is just outside of Byron Bay. And so it's also, I guess, known as a bit of an alternative area or whatever. So definitely there's a lot of healers and, that kind of people around. But I think that certainly it's becoming so much more well known. And so I'm not talking about my area, I'm talking about just your industry and the importance of working on yourself, or just the two words self-care, whatever that means to you, whether it means going and getting a massage or working on your mind and working on all the things. So yeah, we're definitely in a good time for your industry for sure. And I loved it when you said it's the teenage stage, so it's growing up and it's getting out there, getting visible.
Yeah.
Which is super cool. So tell me how you got into doing this, and did you always want to be in this field?
Well, I think I couldn't say I always wanted to be in the field because I didn't really know what, when I was really young, I wanted to be a singer, and then I wanted to be a vet, and then I wanted to be back a singer again. And then I ended up becoming a nurse, and it was more like I became a nurse because I wanted to leave Germany and Australia needed nurses. So I thought, okay, I'm becoming a nurse so I can go to Australia. And realized I really enjoyed helping people. I really enjoyed the connection to people. I really enjoyed seeing people get better and heal. So I guess that was kind of like my foot in that world to some respect. And I think really I was kind of mentoring for a community program for a while. And it was partially volunteering, and then they trained me up to be a master facilitator. And so I trained there and was more involved in community. And there was this program called Renewed Moms, where you were helping moms really identify that their first role in life is themselves, not the mother, not the wife, not the partner. It's really about them. And it was really teaching women to claim their life back and claim control of what's going on for them. And then when I got my nursing registration in New Zealand, my first job was in a prison as a nurse. And I was working in the high security Paramara prison here in Auckland, New Zealand. And there was a young man who felt he was suicidal. And when they feel that something is going on, they have to fill out a slip, and then they put them into the nursing box. And then I was the only nurse, you kind of have like a whole office for yourself. And I was also not on the super high, strict security ward because I was an agency nurse. So they kind of put me on the other side. Anyway, I ended up having a good long chat with him. And I just shared with him what I learned on my journey. And, and also told him that, well, when I grew up, like, my upbringing wasn't as pretty, and it wasn't all nice, and it wasn't all chocolates and roses. It was difficult, and there were a lot of differences between my family and me. I was for a long time, I was like a little bit the black sheep in the family until my brother came. He took over. But I was a little bit the rebel, right? I would always just go and do whatever I want, and it was really weird. I was kind of like a mix between the people pleaser and do everything they want, but on the other side, I would, behind their back, do what I want. And so I shared with him, what helped me, and shared with him how difficult my relationship to my dad was when I became a teenager. He became manic depressive. So from having that loving, supporting father I had, all of a sudden, he was manic, where he was really nasty to us and really not friendly at all. And then when he was depressed, he talked about killing himself all the time. And it was really difficult. And so I shared with him my journey, and shared what helped me, and shared with him that it doesn't matter where you come from. The only thing what matters is where you want to go, and that you are in charge of where you want to go, and you can change anything. Like, and I just shared with him what I learned and what I thought was helping, and what I thought gave me something on my path to allow me to really step out of that, that person I used to be, or that person, that victim persona, and really stepped into my power and said, what, actually, I can do whatever I want. And shared with him that. And then he was just like, he was so sweet. He was like, Miss, you should totally do that as a job. Like, this was so much more valuable than the psychologist appointments I had. And I met him 6 months down the road on the street, and I saw him, and I stopped, and I went out, and I was like, oh my God, how are you doing? Like, how are things? And he said, like, what you said to me back then really changed his life. Like, he said it really changed the way I was looking at things. It changed the way I operated. And he then he started boxing. He had an apartment, had a girlfriend, and, really started a new life. And was really doing well in boxing back then. And yeah, so he was actually, like, I think the pivotal, like, the the push in that direction. Like, yeah, actually, and I thought, I really enjoyed that too. It was so much fun. Like, I just shared with him what I knew worked, and what really helped me on my journey. And yeah, so that was really the start. And then I got into studying NLP and hypnosis and timeline therapy, and I got deeper and deeper into it to really, have some certificates to show that I do know some stuff, and I did a proper training, and and then pretty much never stopped from there.
What I just found so glorious about your story, and is that it sounds to me like you gave each other just as much as what you received. So he was a pivotal turning point for you, but then you also were that for him. So
Yeah,
pretty extraordinary to be so life-changing in that one thing. Whoever would have thought you were going to be nursing in a prison in New Zealand, when you're growing up in Germany, and then whoever would have thought that, sharing your experience with a prisoner was going to help you take this new path. So
yeah.
pretty wonderful, really amazing experience. So thanks for sharing that. So tell me then, is
You're welcome.
furthering your learnings, is that something that's really super important to you? Do you continue to keep training and upskilling?
Yeah, I do. Like, for a while I was like, I'm a certificate hunter. I was like, I plastered the whole wall full of certificates and trainings and courses and stuff. And you know, looking at it, I enjoy that, something different. Each time I'm becoming a better version of myself. Each time I'm seeing things from a different angle, and each time I'm claiming more of who I am. And you know, I think it's amazing. So I had a time where I felt a little bit bad, because there was a little bit stigma about those people who kind of go and the certificates. But I also realized I actually really enjoy it. Like, so what? So what? I'm learning and training. But I guess what did shift it is my intention behind it. I'm not doing it because I'm thinking I'm not good enough. I'm doing it because I want to get better. And just the way of looking at it changed. So I think the energy behind it is different.
Interesting. So I'm actually with you. I'm a really big believer in investing in myself to continue upskilling, etc. But actually, barely any of what I do actually gets me a certificate. Yet it's cost gazillions. So like, when you were talking about the wall of certificates, I was like, where are my certificates for the thousands of hours that I put into, all of that? It's like, come on, I want some of that. But I'm 100% with you that I think it's so important. I feel like the day I stop learning is that I don't know what would happen to my business then, because I constantly got new to keep offering to my clients. And that feels really important, particularly in my industry where it's changing every single day.
Yeah.
But yeah, upskilling, evolving, learning, it's, I guess for people like you and I, it fulfills us and keeps us driving forward and all that. So yeah, I'd never heard it before in the way you described it initially about it potentially not being super positive. And then I was like, ooh, but then I loved how you shifted that. So yay, go you, that's awesome. So tell us something interesting about you that most people wouldn't know about.
Most people wouldn't know about me. Ooh, I can twist my tongue.
Yes, sure. Yes.
Most people do not. I guess what a lot of people also don't know about me is that I used to sing. I sung in a band. I recorded a song with a record studio back in the day. And yeah, I used to be a lot on stage singing, and I always thought I'm gonna.
You what? Sorry, it just cut out there. You said you always thought you'd something.
I always thought I saw myself being on stage, but now it's not that much singing; it's more talking.
Yeah, amazing. And do you still love to sing though? Do you sing with your kids, for example? Beautiful.
Yeah, I do. I miss singing actually. I miss also singing on stage, like proper with a microphone and stuff. And I actually just recently, there is a singer locally and sing, and I was like, yeah, maybe.
Oh, that's brilliant. Well, I look forward to watching that evolving as next part of the career for sure. That's exciting. So tell me, what would you like to tell other women starting out in business about following their passion? What do you think you'd like them to know?
I think first, be prepared. Really be prepared for the ups and downs. It's not all, a lot of women or a lot of people go into business for freedom, to have more freedom. But when you're starting a business and when you're growing a business, you actually don't have that much freedom at all. And to be really aware that there are more paths to business. It's all good to be a really good coach and facilitator, but there's so much more to business. There's the messaging, there's the niching, there's the sales, there's the whole onboarding process, the whole admin stuff. There's so much to a business, social media, being, creating content which actually attracts the right person and converts. Like, there's so much to business. Find someone who already made it, who has a similar lifestyle than you, so they can tell you tips and tricks how they do it, managing maybe their kids, their families, or whatever they do. And have fun doing it. Don't lose the fun, and a nice reframe, you don't have to do it. You get to do it. You're doing it because you're choosing it. And coming from a place, from that kind of energy, makes a completely shift when you say, oh, I have to go and I have to text those people. It feels like dragging, right? It feels like, oh my God, I have to do this. But when you say, I get to do that, I get to connect to those people, I get to talk to those people and create relationships, it's a completely different energy. So yeah, and if you're still working, you can work and build your business on the side.
I would say
it kind of depends.
Sorry, keep going.
I had a mentor, he said, oh, he went all in, and he just, he quit his job and he went all in, and he was sleeping in a van. And then, on the end, I was like, well, yeah, but I have 2 little kids. I'm going to sleep in a van, you got to be realistic. What's your lifestyle? Where are you at? And don't just follow anyone blindly. Make sure that they have kind of like a similar life to yours. Because, for me in the beginning, it was like I was following those single people who didn't have kids. And I had a baby and I was pregnant. It was like, and then eventually, it was like months and months later, I was like, I don't think this is actually really realistic for me to do that right now. And yeah, so that was a big learning for me, to not plan things, to plan things the way they work for me in my life, with my lifestyle, with my children, and with my family.
I think that's just such a wonderful piece of advice. Well, many pieces of advice there. Thank you. But particularly around how it suits you. And I think that so many people go into business exactly like you said, that they think they're going to have more free time. For me, it was that I don't like being told what to do. So that's a really big one. I haven't worked for someone else for decades, really. But it's funny because like you said, I work harder, longer hours than I ever did when I worked for someone else. But I just like knowing that all the hours that I put in are definitely appreciated, rather than, I've worked in different jobs where no matter how many hours you did, there was never any appreciation, and it was definitely challenging. So there's a lot to be said for being in the industries that we're in, and being in charge of what we're doing. But there's also a lot of stress that comes with it. So, for example, not having a weekly paycheck or a monthly paycheck that you know exactly where it's coming from, not having someone else paying your super, or whatever it is, it's not having your 4 or 6 weeks or how many weeks of holidays that you get per year. So there's definitely downsides and plus sides to it. So, but I think it's just absolutely wonderful how you've said it's very much about finding a way to do it that suits you and your lifestyle, and finding a mentor or someone that's been there with that similar lifestyle. So you're right, for you with young kids, it's so important that you're not getting mentored by someone with, who's a grandparent or something. Or maybe that's not true. Maybe you can still find incredible information from them. But yes, someone that has been there and done it is really, that's a powerful thing in itself. So let me know though, if you right now could live anywhere in the world, where would you live?
Probably Hawaii.
What's the appeal there? Obviously it is a very appealing place, but what particularly for you?
I don't know. I feel Hawaii is a real healing place. Like, it's just there's something about the energy in Hawaii, and really the heat. I love heat. I love
Oh,
you know, like when you're coming out of the shower and you're sweating, I'm happy, you know? Like when people complain, I'm like, I love it. I love it. It's
you and
great.
I need to swap where we live, because already it's the middle, or not even quite the middle of the last month of winter, and I'm already dreading that we're a matter of weeks away from the heat. It's so hot where I live.
We're
Oh,
gonna we're gonna have -1 degrees tomorrow.
oh, I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, we should swap.
Yes, we definitely should. So I've got one last question for you, and that is, what's one thing that no matter what happened, that in your business, no matter what went on around the world, or what went on with money, money landing in your lap, or anything that happened, what's one thing that you would never or could never change?
What I could never change. I think really the passion of helping people to tap into their true self and follow that, no matter what it would mean to the outside world, and no matter what it would mean, how they would be perceived or not. Like, I would always push to, tap what it is within you and really guide them to the answers. Like, okay, what is it? Where you want to go, what do you want to do, how's it going to look like. And I'm a big believer that no matter what's going on might seem, if you truly have power within yourself, things will just work out. They will just fall all into place. And sometimes we have no idea how, and sometimes, we really, we don't really have the path. We just know where we want to go, but it just kind of comes together in a most beautiful and magical way. And that's really like one thing I really try to, bring over people. Like I really want this message to be anchored in their body, because especially now, like, I mean, there are quite a few people talking about, doomsday, everything's going to get worse, and, interest rates going up, and this is going to happen, this is going to happen, which, yes, might very well all happen. But if that's the only thing we focus on, then that's what we want to, that's what we will create, And I think, I don't care what's happening in the world, I will create my heaven on earth. And that's what I really want to bring over to my clients and the people I'm working with, or, when I'm seeing people or I'm presenting. And I really want that message to land, that you're going to create whatever you believe. If you believe in doomsday, then that's what you're going to experience. And that's what you're going to see. Because, I mean, Tony Robbins said it, what's wrong will always be available. But so is what's right will also always be available for you. So it really depends where you want to look at and how you want to look at it. Interest rates go up, but what if you find a job or a business opportunity that you can pay that house off straight away? What if you can just buy it in cash? What if you put yourself with people together and you buy a big piece of land and you're building earth houses? Like, I mean, there are endless possibilities out there, right? Like, I don't know why we keep holding on to the worst one.
Yeah, you're so right. My word. And what if money didn't even matter? What if, who knows? But yeah, staying positive, looking at it from a different glass half full is definitely going to help your mindset, help your outlook, help everything going forward. Thank you so much, Linda, for sharing. That's wonderful, getting a peek into your life and a peek into how you got to be doing what you do and how you help people. I think it's just a wonderful thing. So let me know, are you the CEO or are you the founder? How do you like to refer to yourself of Abundant Mindset?
Probably the founder. I think in the beginning, I think one of my mentors said it once. He was like, look, if you're working alone in your company, don't call yourself a CEO. Like what the CEO of and I mean, now I've got 3 team members working with me, but yeah, I still call myself the founder, the head coach.
Beautiful. I love it. Well, congratulations to you in this amazing business, and you as the founder of Abundant Mindset. So we'll be sharing with in the caption of how everybody can get in touch with you and connect with you. and work with you there in New Zealand in person, or of course on Zoom somewhere around the world. So thank you so much for sharing some time with me this evening. And I really look forward to watching you grow and evolve in your business. And thanks so much for being part of the positive, passionate businesswoman's huddle. It's just a treat to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure catching up with you. I just love it.
And you, Linda. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful evening. And thanks, everybody. Good night.